Hi everybody, my name is Dawn and this is Wreath Decor by Dawn, and today I'm going to show you how to turn a sign into a rail with Deco mesh, and you can hang it on your wall or your door. So I'm going to show you some of the materials that we're going to be working with, and then we'll get started on this. Alright, so to get started I'm going to show you my work area so that you can see everything, and we'll get started. Put you down. There we go. Alright, so for this project what we need is a sign. This sign came from the Christmas tree store. If you don't have one of those in your area, you can find any kind of sign really that's of good size, that may be too big for a wreath, or something that normally you would buy to hang on the wall, and you can add to it and dress it up a little more. Alright, so this sign here, like I said, it came from the Christmas tree store, and it measures about 14 inches long, and it's about 11, almost 12 inches wide. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do to this sign is a couple of things. I want to get rid of this, because this will be covered up anyway, so we don't need that. And I'm also going to get rid of this hanger, because I want to put my own hanger on it. So what we need to do with that is just use some pliers. Needle nose pliers will work just fine. And grab a hold of that staple and pull that out. It's wood, so it'll come right out. And this is a really quick and easy project you can do. You don't need those, so I'm just going to toss these away because I don't need those. We won't be reusing them for anything. Alright, now we're going to take out these stars, and these are also just stapled in. So in order to lift those staples up, I'm just going to take this metal and try and lift it up a little bit to get underneath there, so I can grab a hold of that staple. And I'm just going to move it back and forth, and that staple comes right out. And then we'll do the other side. So the back of this is all prepped. Put these aside, we don't need these for now. Alright, so this sign here says "Let Freedom Ring." So what we're going to do is we're going to take a broken, or even just a regular wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. This is a 14-inch frame, and I'm going to use this section here to go on the tires of the truck. So I'm going to take some wire cutters. These are just some big wire cutters I got from Lowe's, and I'm going to snip this off on the other side of the crossbar. I want to keep the crossbar because we're going to use that. So then you got these two sections right here, and we're going to cut on the other side of this crossbar, and I'm just cutting right up next to that crossbar. Alright, so this is the section we're going to use. This one you can take these other two pieces off right here on either side, and you've got these two sections you can use. So like I said, if you ever get some of these frames that the welds aren't welded down correctly, or they pop off, you can always reuse these, so don't throw your frames away. I'll set that to the side. We don't need that right now. Alright, so these two sections are going to fit on the tires, and I'm just going to move it down. I want to be able to cover this area with mesh. So I'm just going to mark with a pen, a pencil, whatever you have. And I'm going to mark on both sides. Let me make sure I'm in shot here so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to mark on both sides of the frame. Just put two little marks. Don't get too close to the edge because you are going to be drilling a hole in these. Alright, so I'm just going to bring it to the edge of the table here, and I have a little drill. This is just an inexpensive drill that we picked up at the hardware store, and it has a small drill bit on it, just big enough for the pipe cleaners or zip ties to fit through. So when I come to the edge of the table, I'm going to hold on to this and I'm going to drill down. Don't push real hard. And it just goes right through. And I'm going to drill on both of those marks, one on each side. And that puts in the 2 holes I need to put my zip tie in to hold the frame in place. Alright, so let me show you up close so you can see that. Right here I've got the 2 holes, and that's where we're going to zip tie the frame to it. So I have the frame here and I have 2 zip ties. I'm going to use one on each side. You can add more if you want to. It's up to you. But these zip ties will fit right in here. I'm going to take it under. I want the zip tie section, connecting section on the top, because that's going to be covered up by mesh anyway. Nobody will see it. If it's on the back, it's going to make your rails sit away from the wall or the door. We don't want that. Don't want it to scratch someone's wall or door either. So I'm going to put these in. Just leave it popped up a couple of inches, because when you tighten it down, it will move that backing off of there. When you tighten it down, it'll be closer. All right, so take your frame where you cut it and put those bars, those rails, right in between, and then zip tie. And get it as tight as you can without breaking the frame. You don't want to bend the frame or break it. Alright, so I got both of them on here. I'm going to make sure my frame is where I want it. And now I'm going to tighten this down. Okay, there's one. We'll do the same to this side. I'm going to use my pliers to help me get that tight. Alright, so there's your rail now. So now we're going to put our mesh and that on here. So for in the interest of time, I went ahead and did another one that I had. Let me get that for you. We'll swap that out. Alright, so this one I already took off the stars. The only thing I did not remove was the hanger, and we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. But on this one, I already put my pipe cleaners. I put 9 pipe cleaners, and I spaced them out about 3-4 inches apart. All I did was take my hand and put them in between. And then on the top, I put the top ones in between the bottom ones. So that gave me my 9. So we don't need our wire cutters anymore right now. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to ruffle up our mesh. So I already cut most of my mesh, and I will cut a piece for you. So I have this red, white, and blue plaid that I'm going to use. I cut it the size of my mat, which is 24 inches. Not any particular reason. I just, whatever the size of my mat was is what I decided to go with. So let me move this out of the way for a second here. I'm running out of room. And let me pull this out, and I just measured it with my mat. And I'm going to use my rotary cutter, and I'm going to cut that off at the 24-inch mark. That's all there is to cutting that. Put that away. So now I'm going to take, and we're going to do the woodland ruffle with this. So I'll set this here so it can Actually, we don't need the mesh roller anymore. I'm going to set that over here to the side. Gives us a little more room to work with. All right. So when I do the woodland ruffle, I use this wooden dowel. The dowel is about 3/4 of an inch thick, and it just helps because I have problems with my hands. So I want to use that to get my little rolls going, and then all I need is a little chip clip. So with the woodland ruffle, you want to do about 3, 4. Some people do 5. I'm going to do about 4 curls. Pull my dowel out, clip that, turn it around, and do the other end. Let me get my little rock here to hold this down for me. Again, I'm going to take this wooden dowel and I'm going to wrap my mesh around it, and then I'm going to roll it 4 times. Pull that out, move the rock, and we're going to ruffle right up the center. Try to keep it in the center as much as possible. Move that clip off, and there's your woodland ruffle. So you have ruffles and curls all in one. We're going to take that and place that right into our pipe cleaner. Now you could do just a regular ruffle if you wanted to. That's totally up to you. And if we see any open spaces or where we need to fill in, then we just add a pipe cleaner and put more mesh in. Okay, so let me go ahead and do these up real quick. So if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, hit that little bell icon, and that'll get you notified whenever I upload a video or I go live. And I normally do a live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock on Facebook, and then I upload that here on YouTube on Fridays. So we're just going to put one of these in every tie. And I am putting these with the ruffle up. You can put them with the ruffle up or the curl up, depends on what look you want. One more. Turn. And then ruffle. All right, this is our last ruffle. And if we see any empty spots or where you can see through, then we'll add in more mesh. Make sure your curls are all going in the right direction. And we're going to be putting ribbons on here and tubing too. So there's our sign for the base. So see how that just comes up to the top or bottom of the truck, so you can still see all of the truck. That's what we want. That gives a nice coverage. So you could probably put in 1 or 2 more in each section if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. It gets a full coverage. All right, so next we're going to take our ribbons. So the ribbons I chose to put on here is a natural with some blue stars. And then we've got the red truck with the flags. So we're matching that truck pattern. So we're just going to use those 2 ribbons and get these out of the way. We don't need the rock anymore. We'll set those there. We're going to put 1 ribbon in each tie. And these are cut at 12 inches. I didn't want them to be too long to where they overlap and cover each other. So we're going to fold that ribbon in half, find our center, and then ruffle or pinch it. And want that truck facing down, not up, because you don't want the truck upside down. So we're just going to go right into that tie. We're not going to open it up. We're just going to set it right down in there. You got plenty of tie to work with. Get it nice and tight. Give it a couple twists. And then spread those ribbons out. So you can see that truck pattern. So you got the truck going down here. So you want it up here. Stars up there. Down over here. And we'll just give them a little bit of a curl with our fingers. And that gives them some nice lift. Okay. Let's do some more. Go to the next one. Make a mess. I'm going to put those two ribbons together, on one on top of the other. Fold them in half. Find my center. Open it back up, pinch the center. Then I'm going to give those a little lift so that it looks like a bird. And I'm going to put that right in my tie. Get it nice and tight. And then spread those ribbons out. Okay, one more. 12-inch ribbons, 1.5 and a 2.5. Find your center, gather it in the center, pull those wings out, fluff those out, put it in as close to your tie as possible, and tighten that down really tight to your pipe cleaner. Spread out those ribbons so you can see them all. So there it is with the mesh and the ribbons on it. See how we transform one little sign into something really pretty? All right, now we're going to put the tubing on. And again, the tubing is cut at 24 inches. It's the size of my mat. It's usually what I go with. We're going to do red and blue because we already have the white from the ribbon. I'm just taking these and I'm folding them in half. Then I fold them in half again. And then I pinch them in the center and give them a twist. And then I'm going to put them into my pipe cleaner. And again, get those really tight and twist those off. And now you could cut your pipe cleaners off if you wanted to. Just give them a little snip and then fold that pipe cleaner over so nobody gets stabbed by that wire that's inside of it. So I'll do the top. Again, 24 inches. That one's a little shorter. Fold them in half. Fold them in half again. Pinch and twist. One more. Okay, those are all clipped. I'm going to clip this end off of here because it's bent. There we go. All right, so now we have our tubing on there. See how nice that looks? Doesn't it just add a little something to it? All right. For the hanger, I'm going to take this jute that I got, or this string. I got this at Walmart, and it's over in the floral section. And I'm just going to cut me a 24-inch piece. And we're going to use that for our hanger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to fold this over, give it a little loop on the back. And I want to get this on the edge because I don't want to break the flagpole. So I want to get that on the edge, and I'm going to take my stapler, and this is just a regular stapler from the hardware store. It takes 1/4-inch staples on up to 3/8, I believe. And I'm going to put some staples in here. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side over here. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it over just once. And I'm going to put it right next to that other staple. Hold the sign as well. So there's our new hanger. Let me turn it this way so you can see it. So there's our new hanger. All the glitter coming off of the sign and the ribbon. And you can take and pinch this right here if you want to, depending on how wide or how long you want it to hang. And tie this off right here. Give it a little loop. So they can hang it from either this little loop, or they can hang it from under here, either way. And then what we're going to do is to cover up that knot, I have a smaller bow that I made for another Patriotic project that I didn't use, and I'm going to put that on here because that ribbon that I used, this one right here, matches the ribbon that I'm going to use in the next bow that I make. And then we'll cut these tails so that they're not hiding anything there. So we'll see how that looks, but we're going to make a bow real quick. Alright, this is an easy bow maker. This is what I'm going to use to make a bow, and I've got a couple ribbons picked out here. So I have this American flag ribbon, this natural with the blue and the white stars, and then we have this one here with the blue, white stars, and the red stripes, and then another natural with the red, white, and blue and the stars. So let's try this one first, and I want a bow to go right in the center down here. So I'm going to put a bow right here in the center. So let's go ahead and get this. So I want to make my tails about 12 inches long. I'm going to ruffle this up the center. Now, if you make bows by hand, you can twist these so that the pattern goes the same direction, but I'm going to just let it go the way it goes. I want about a 5.5 inch loop. And I'm going to twist, and I'm going to lay that flat there. Move these out of the way. So there's my 5.5 inch loop. Now we're going to make one on the other side. Another 5.5 inch. We're going to pinch that down in the center and then give this side a twist so that we have the back side facing up, so that we can make our next loop. And it'll be the same size. Scrunch it down. Give this side a twist so that the back side is up. So we're doing 4 loops, 2 on each side. So we're going to bring one of these down, one up, one down, and one up. And then we're just going to cut that off. Go. Now the next ribbon, I'm going to use another 2.5 inch. And we're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to make the loops a little bit smaller, about 5 inches. So I like to get it started by ruffling it up this way. Twist so that you have the underside facing up. Do a 5-inch loop and get some of this unwound. We're going to do a 5-inch, slightly smaller than the last one. Twist, straighten out that center. I don't want it all bunched up. We're going to do 4 of these as well. And I will list all of the supplies I've used and where the materials came from. And I will include any links that I have for them. But I will list all the stores that I purchased the merchandise from, or the materials from, so that you will have a list of what was used. I will also include all of my links to my other social media, as well as Facebook. I have Instagram. And all of them go by my business name, which is Wreath Decor by Dawn. And again, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And you'll be able to follow along with any other videos I post or lives that I do. I would love to have you follow me. So we're going to spread these out. Cut this off. I really like this ribbon. I like the way it looks, especially when you're looking at it on the screen. Alright, so the next one I'm going to use is this one here. This is a 1.5. Measure out the same length of tail. Those can always be cut. And I'm not putting any of that truck ribbon in because it's already in the wreath. I wanted to use different ribbon. Let's make these about, yeah, let's do 4.5. I want to check those loops and make sure they're about the same as the other one I just did. Yep, they look about the same. We'll do 2 more of those. want to stay in there. Ribbon wants to curl. Just making sure they're the same length as the one before it. And we'll cut this tail off. So we've got 4 of those. And then we'll use this one to do just 1 loop on each side. And this one will be about 4 inches. And there we go. There's our bow. Now I'm going to take a zip tie. I'll use a, let's see, an 8-inch should be good for this one. And I'll get that locked in and started. Oops. Don't pull too tight because you got to take this off and you're going to have to adjust those ribbons. But I want it tight enough that it's not going to make my bow come apart when I take it off of there. So you see this indent where those 2 bars were right there. That's where you want your zip tie to sit. So you want to pinch your ribbon together and then slide that over into that slot. Keep your ribbons in place and then give it a little twist around so that that zip tie clasp is in the back. And then you can tighten it a little bit more, not all the way yet, because you want to adjust those ribbons, and we need to put our pipe cleaner in so that we can attach it to our project. So I just want to put these ribbons where I want them, because once you zip tie that tight, they're harder to move. Let's get all these tails going in the right direction. Want all those tails, sorry, I know I'm out of screen here. Make sure all those tails are going down. Twist any ribbons in the center here that need to be twisted out. All right, we'll take our pipe cleaner. We're going to slide that through the back underneath that zip tie. Just push down on it. All right, so now if your wires or your ribbons are in place where you want them, you can always fluff this after you get it on your project, but you just want to make sure your ribbons are where they need to be, that all your loops are where they need to go or where you want them to go. Okay, and then give it a nice tug. And if you have to, use your wire snips or your needle nose pliers to pull that tight. And then cut off the excess zip tie. You don't need that anymore. And we have our pipe cleaner under here. We're going to give it a twist. There. Now when we get our bow on, we'll fluff all these. Once you have the bow fluffed out how you want it, let's put it on our project here. You want to pull these ties right to the back. Now go down through your mesh and tie it to that frame on the back side. And you want to attach it to the frame and not the mesh, because you want to make sure it gets a nice tight attach. Make sure it gets attached nice and tight. Don't pull down too tight though, because you don't want to make your bow sink in the center. You want it to sit nice and pretty on the back or on the top of your mesh. Pull too tight. Twist that off in the back. You can clip those wires in that later. We'll just fold them over for now. So there's our bow on there. Now we've got this tie that we put on, and if you wanted to put like a dab of glue on this to keep this flag from moving, you could. I'm gonna let it go and let it flap. If it picks up a nice little breeze, it'll flap in the wind while it's hanging on someone's, if they're hanging it outside. All right, so on this one, we're gonna do a piece of floral wire, because this is a bow I already made that I didn't use. I'm gonna get some floral wire, and I need to get it underneath there because that zip tie is already on there. And this little wire or needle is good for that. So this is just a weaving needle or a yarn needle. Find it in the craft section by the yarn. And it's just like an oversized sewing needle. I'm going to take this and go right up underneath my zip tie. Weave that in. Try and get it so it doesn't go into my ribbon. And then pull that floral wire through. And I'm using a 26 gauge floral wire, silver. So there's the wire I need to attach this. And I'm going to give it a couple of twists so it's secured to my zip tie, and then we're going to wrap it around this twine. So I'm going to pull this twine up right where that knot is, and that's where I want the bow to go. So I'm going to make sure that this wire, floral wire, is right underneath that knot, and I'm going to tie it really tight and give it a couple twists. So then when I get that on there, I'm going to cut off any excess wire, and then what I will do is I will fold that wire over, and I will pinch it with my needle nose, and then I will put a dab of glue on here so that that does not come up and it won't poke anyone. So it's going to be embedded in that twine, in that knot that we made. So they can hang this from that loop right here, or they can hang it from underneath. Depends on how they want to do it. So in order to dovetail these, we're just going to fold our ribbons in half, and we're going to cut from the folded side out to the wire edge. Just cut that in an angle, and it puts a nice little V cut, which is a dovetail. So let's cut these off. So this will lay right on there. See, this one's a little long. We can tell. We can either curl it or we can cut it off even more. Whichever we want. But when this is hanging on the wall or door, wherever they want to hang it, then those will be folded under. So we just want to make sure that this all sits up right here. So you have a nice little bow on the top. And I will be posting a picture of this so that you can see the finished product. And all done. So we took that sign and we made it into this beautiful little patriotic door hanger that you can hang on your door, your wall, your porch. Makes a great gift. and God bless America. So I want to thank you for joining me. Have a great day, and don't forget to hit that bell icon and subscribe to my channel.